Welcome to Agenda Edina, a news program summarizing the actions taken at City Hall that affect you most. I'm your host, Dorothea Marty. The Fred Richards Executive Golf Course will be closed at the end of the summer. The City Council recently approved a 6-point strategy to make Braemar Golf Course financially stable and self-sufficient. Part of that strategy is to invest more in Braemar and not the Fred. Elements of the strategy are narrowing the focus of golf operations, investing in improvements at Braemar, modifying prices and discounts, outsourcing ancillary services such as the grill operation, expanding marketing, and improving customer service.
The decision to close Fred Richards Golf Course was an incredibly difficult one. It was difficult for the staff, it was certainly difficult for the residents, and it was very difficult for our City Council and Park Board to come to as well. We looked at the operations of our golf enterprise for almost the past year and tried to figure out how we could make our golf operations the most successful for the long run. And we realized that we needed to be able to reinvest in our main core golf product at Braemar. And we looked at every way possible to be able to do that, and we found that the best result would be achieved by closing Fred Richards.
It is estimated that about $485,000 of Edina liquor profits will be needed to subsidize the municipal golf operations each year. Closing the Fred and implementing the rest of the 6-point strategy is expected to result in a reduction of more than $2 million in expenses over the next 6 years. As a result, by the year 2020, Braemar Golf Course should be self-sufficient, no longer relying on profits from Edina liquor. Leveraging the future savings of closing Fred Richards, staff has begun work on plans to improve the driving range at Braemar. Construction is expected to begin this fall. Such improvements are the first of several expected at the municipal course. Groundwork is being laid for the development of a master plan at the golf course to call out other improvements. The City Council granted preliminary approvals for one of the largest redevelopment projects proposed in Minnesota. Pentagon Revival has proposed a redevelopment of Pentagon Park, a 43-acre site along 77th Street. The Pentagon Park Office Park, consisting of 15 multi-tenant office buildings, was built in the late 1960s. For several decades, it was well positioned in the marketplace and had much success. However, in the past decade, its dated layout and aging infrastructure has made it considerably less desirable. Since 2004, the assessed valuation of the Pentagon Park properties has declined by 60%. The vacancy rate of some of the buildings far exceeds that of the marketplace. Nearly every building requires significant repair after several years of deferred maintenance. The area is in need of redevelopment so that these trends are reversed. The new owner envisions a complete transformation of the private properties in the next 2 to 15 years. Pentagon Revival has proposed 1.4 million square feet of office space, 40,000 square feet of retail, a 400-room hotel, 6,400 parking stalls in structured parking, and possibly some housing. The first phase of development will likely be on the Pentagon Tower site, which would include office buildings, the hotel, limited retail, and parking structures.
It's really the biggest project in Edina since Centennial Lakes. In fact, there's been a lot of references that this is going to be the next Centennial Lakes, 43 acres in size.
To accommodate the redevelopment, the City Council last month approved preliminary rezoning of the property and an overall development plan.
We're excited to see the detail now. We've just been dealing with the concepts and a general layout of the site. So now with the approvals that have been given, now we can get into the detail here.
To move forward with the project, the developer will need to obtain final development plan approval from the city. Such approval could be granted for the first phase later this spring. Both commercial and residential redevelopment continue to be a major part of life in Edina. With this redevelopment comes the need for safe and proper construction. I recently met with the city's new chief building official to find out about the future of building inspections in Edina.
so I didn't know what to expect.
While Edina's new chief building official, David Fisher, has only been on the job a couple weeks, he's finding plenty to do.
In my first week here, I've sat in 5 or 6 big meetings where there's just big projects going on here, which is really exciting. But at the same token, oh my goodness, there's a lot going on here, which is good. It's a good problem to have.
In fact, last year, Edina's Building Inspections Division completed more than 18,400 inspections and was responsible for more than $3.5 million in revenue. That's almost 2/3 more than was done in Maplewood, where David previously served as building official. The chief building official oversees everything from reviewing residential and commercial plans to plumbing and mechanical inspections, and even making sure additions such as a deck on a home are done correctly.
Ultimately, I'm responsible for what the inspectors do in the field. Everybody's working under my certification.
Fire Chief Tom Schmitz adds the importance of knowing codes and rules, something the new chief building official is very familiar with.
The chief building official, along with our fire inspectors, their primary role is to make sure, first of all, buildings are built sound and they meet the code requirements by the state of Minnesota, and more importantly, that life safety is all in place and that we're following all those rules.
The fire chief was one of the people involved in hiring David and is his supervisor. He says aside from David's 28 years of experience with several other cities, he has the background needed to succeed in this position.
Along with all his years of experience, he's got the educational background that supports that. He's also very active in his industry on a national and state level. He's involved in the organization, sits on committees, so he knows the good practices and how to create those successes that we look for here in Edina.
While David Fisher is still very new to his position, he's already starting to formulate his goals, which start with giving residents exceptional customer service.
We're working on trying to make things better for the community.
Fisher replaced Steve Kirchman, who retired after almost 15 years as Edina's chief building official. To educate the public and remember those whose lives and cultures have been forever changed, the City of Edina will host a series of free events this month with the Edina Human Rights and Relations Commission and the World Without Genocide.
It's important to recognize the events that people went through, the hardships they went through, and the impact that it had on future generations. So we focus on that on our Human Rights Commission to understand, again, the victims, the survivors, and the liberators that are especially in Edina.
A Days of Remembrance program on Tuesday, April 8th includes the Reader's Theater play Upstanders, 10 Who Dared, a performance of resistance music from the Holocaust, and the story of Sophie Scholl and the White Rose, a youth resistance movement in Nazi Germany. On Thursday, April 10th, Ellen Kennedy, Executive Director of World Without Genocide and Edina resident, will speak about the situation in Rwanda today and the crisis in Congo, where 6 million people have perished since 1996. She will highlight Minnesota initiatives to reduce the violence. Holocaust survivor Fred Amram will speak about his experiences at an event on Sunday, April 13th. This event also includes Holocaust displays and photos and participation in an ongoing art project. This is the 4th year Edina has acknowledged the Days of Remembrance. In 2012, Mayor Jim Hovland signed a proclamation indicating the City of Edina would acknowledge the National Days of Remembrance in perpetuity and encourage community members to reflect on the need for respect for all people. Thanks for watching this episode of Agenda Edina. I'm your host, Dorothea Marty.